Hey everybody, and welcome to Alan's Bonsai. So today I'm going to use this very large mica pot as a seed bed for bald cypress. So the plan is first to cover the drain holes so that the soil doesn't fall out, and then fill it with soil. And I'm just going to use landscape soil, just basic landscape mix, nothing special. And then I'm going to plant the seeds pretty close together, maybe 1.5 inches. So there could end up being 50, 60, 70, maybe more. But then the future plans will be that once I get germination and the trees are 3, 4, 5 inches, then I will start to selectively remove some of the seedlings and grow them as singles, but then leave some seedlings in this pot to eventually make a bald cypress forest, much like a cypress dome that you see out in nature. So bonsai has a rule of thirds. So this pot is 33 inches wide. So then the rule of thirds means that the main tree should be about 11 inches off of the edge of the pot. But I actually like to use what's called the golden mean, which is 1 to 1.6, and that places the main tree closer to the center, just a little bit, more like 13 inches. And that just happens to be right where this drain hole is. And that's no big deal because it's going to be covered with screen. And then I've already made one little dot. So then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to plant more seed around the main tree, and then another ring around them, and another ring, and another ring, and another ring, and another ring, all the way out to the edge. And I may, by the time I get over here, be doing more like an arc, because it's not a circular pot. It's actually a big oval. I think this is one of the biggest mica pots I ever made, although it's not the deepest. It's only about 3 inches deep, and they do make deeper pots. So that's the plan. Cover up the drain holes, fill it with soil, plant a whole bunch of bald cypress seed. As they germinate, pull the selected ones that are not going to be part of the design for the grove, for the forest, grow them singly, and then eventually the ones that I leave in here will become a really cool bald cypress forest. And I've had this pot for a long time, and actually I had a bald cypress forest in this pot, and it was one of my daughter's favorite bonsai that I had. But I'm going to admit it, neglect. And bald cypress need a lot of water, so I don't think I really cared for them as much as I could have. And of course, it died off. So I'm going to try to recreate that grove. It's now 30 years. But I found some bald cypress trees with massive amounts of seed. So I have maybe 1,000 bald cypress seed. Thinking to myself, why do I need that many? But when you get to a tree and you start pulling off the cones, hey, it's just as easy to keep pulling. So that's the plan for today. And today is very cloudy, and we're expecting a lot of rain. So that's going to be great. So the soil is now in the pot, and as you can see, I've got it almost right up to the brim. And typically when you grow a bonsai tree, you don't want it that high, but this soil is in there very loosely, hasn't been compacted at all, so it will settle a little bit. And then these are the seed. And bald cypress seed are pretty funky. So here's the little seed right here. They remind me of a stone tool that cavemen used to make. They have these strange little sharp edges. And here's another one. They're just pretty weird little seed. And they actually grow in a cone. So here's a group of 6 cones. But then they begin to break apart. So you can see this one here is breaking apart. And all you really need to do is squeeze it and it just falls apart. So I'm going to break apart a bunch of cones and then begin to plant. And I guess I could start planting right now. So once again, if we move back over here, pan out a little bit, 1/3 is right about there. So I'm going to plant that guy right there. Now, will that guy germinate and be the first main tree? Well, if it doesn't, there'll be some all the way around, so I'm going to plant more of them right around that guy, like that. And I'll know where I've planted them because I'll make an indentation in the soil. So there's 3 indentations, and then 4, and I will continue that in concentric rings all the way around until the pot is full. So watching me do that is probably going to be pretty boring. I also need to separate the seeds from the cone. Here's another cone. You just kind of squeeze it and it just breaks apart. So I am going to get to it, planting in concentric circles, and I'm going to start probably making it an oval because once again, if we pan out, the pot is an oval. So, and once again, on the outside, I may need to make some just arcs, and that'd be cool. No big deal. So it's time to break up the cones, separate the seed, and then plant the rest of the tray. Okay, so I planted all the seed, and I've left the indentations in the soil so you can see how many I planted. I did not actually count, but just sort of estimating, it's probably about 150 seeds. So that's way, way, way too many for a forest. Typically a forest of this size, because once again, this is a pretty big pot, 33 inches wide. Probably going to have 12, 15, maybe 18, even maybe a little bit more than that. And as you can see here, I spaced them about 1.5 inches apart. But then over here on the far side of the pot, I put them way closer together. It's almost hard to see because when you push one seed into the soil, you disrupt the hole where the other seed was. So you really can't even see the holes over here as distinctly as you can right here. So that's about it. Once again, we are about to get a quite heavy rainstorm. Oh, and another thing. The cones have a tremendous amount of sap. Look at my fingers. And that's all just from pulling the seed apart, pulling the cones apart. So I might even have to use some goop to get that off my fingers. So that's pretty interesting. So I am now going to add a little extra soil to fill in the holes and then tamp it down slightly. And then wait for the rain. We're talking 100% chance of rain later this afternoon. And then the aftercare for these is water, 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 and then water some more. Cypress trees are a swamp plant. They're one of the few trees in the world that can live for decades with their roots totally submerged in water. So even as seedlings, they need a lot of water. Probably the giant no-no on growing bald cypress is never let them dry out. And in fact, some people, when they collect them out of the wild, which of course saves a lot of time from doing this, but this was a whole lot easier as far as labor, except for my fingers. They will place a collected tree in a pot with some drainage, but then place it in another pot without drainage and just keep it totally submerged, keep the roots totally submerged in water for about a year to give the tree a chance to recuperate from the collecting. So that's how much water they need. But I'm really hoping that I'm going to get good germination. And if you want to follow this tree, this whatever it is, future magnificent forest, please subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, please press like. And I also have exclusive content for my patrons where I've saved trees, numerous trees, which will be added as I go along on my patron page exclusively for my patrons. So please, if you can, become a patron, subscribe, like, and also hit the notification button so you know when I put a new video out. And I'm really looking forward to how this thing is going to develop. I'm really excited, actually. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.